Okay, great.
How's it going?
I mean, I'm doing okay. I'm trying to stay off of the internet and stuff because I feel like watching the boiling pot of everything is just
Too
not
much.
going to be at this point. There's nothing I can do. Like me and my partner, I drove my girlfriend is from Philadelphia, and I drove her to Philadelphia to vote yesterday because it's
Yeah,
more.
fight online.
Yeah, it's a battle. It was weird to be there. It was like Mad Max, but with Trump flags. And I feel like, all right, we drove through another state to another state to vote. Like that's the most we can do.
Yeah,
I did a mail-in ballot early so that we could do this.
Right.
So it's just like, all right, we did what we could, and now we're just gonna try to, uh, we're gonna try to,
Gotta wait it out now.
yeah, but we're gonna
Like,
try to not watch the pot boil. I'm gonna try to be productive, and then whatever happens, I'm just gonna work towards trying to make the world a better place, no matter what happens.
that's it.
Uh, that's all we can do. How are you guys?
same thing. We're Canadians watching it on TV.
Yeah.
We're obsessed with it as well.
Observing from a distance.
Dude, it is bizarre. This is a bizarre time period, but I don't know. We can't this is just a lot of I feel like every 10 years America gets faced with like, hey, um your story is not, oh hooray, we got through a bunch of stuff and now we're in the clear, because every 10 years we think that that's our story, and it's like, no,
If something
it,
new happens, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, we elect like a president that we think is like good for the times, and then we're like, whew, we made it, guys, Obama. And it's no, that that didn't. Mm-mm.
It didn't fix anything, no.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm just I don't know. I don't know. We're just it's a mess. We're gonna I think we gotta just I don't really know what else like like I'm donating, I'm protesting, we're doing everything that we can, but we got to make like our country is gonna fall into just like a real we're just seems to be we seem to be doomed to make the same mistakes every single decade and it feels like it gets more extreme
Every time.
every time. Yeah, so I don't know, we gotta stop lying to ourselves a little bit. I mean, there are people who have been like who have known this for such a long time, but I did it's just it is bizarre. But what do you guys want to talk about?
We can talk
Well.
about 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So I'll go first.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I actually had a question, changing the subject a bit, because I'm a musician myself, and
Yeah.
The arrangement you guys do for the covers, like that Oingo Boingo song, with the Iron Maiden arrangement.
Yeah.
How do you come up with that, and how does everyone know what to play? Like, do you make a demo and send it to everybody? Do you have meetings?
That's it. I basically how the show works is, for the most part it's me, but sometimes musicians will approach me with their idea. But pretty much it's just like I will come up with like a fun angle on a cover, and it doesn't have anything to do with like whether a song is popular or not, or
Yeah.
like it's just really whether I have like an idea for what we can do with the melody or the riff, if we have like a spin on the riff that could be really cool.
Right.
Um,
Right.
if there's a like I try to pay attention to, you know, similarities between like I realized with the Oingo Boingo song when we were just scrambling because we decided to do a Halloween themed month
Yeah.
very last minute. Like in September, I was talking with Drew. He was like, we should do like all spooky covers. And I was like, yeah, it's a good idea. Damn. And then we had to push a bunch of songs back.
Okay.
And then we moved and then I just started diving in and then like kind of figuring out like what constitutes a spookier than normal cover because we're already kind of a pretty Halloweeny show.
Yeah.
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 And so when we arrived at like Dead Man's Party, I realized we were talking about like it's so long and repetitive, and I realized there was such a similarity with. I was like, oh, like Iron Maiden songs also kind of work this way, and then I thought I was like, okay, yeah, because it's in this Oingo Boingo song, it's in the key of E,
Hmm.
and I realized like we could throw a C chord in there and make it Iron Maiden.
Oh yeah, the way they go back. The
Yeah.
sequence.
So they go E every like the Trooper is just E D C and then back.
Back. That's it.
And once I figured out that like okay, the melody of Dead Man's Party still works when you throw in a C chord to this repetition.
Right. Right.
And then it kind of went together from there. I was like, we can just make all of the little variations that happen in the Iron Maiden song,
Mhm.
different harmonized riffs, and we can. And then it was really just picking out my favorite stuff from Iron Maiden, like, of course, like the little like the intro. I was like, okay, like the big intro. I was like, that's got to be like Number of the Beast, and then
That's it.
I realized like. All right, it's kind of a softer opening to the song, so we can turn that into like kind of a combination of Caught Somewhere in Time and Fear of the Dark.
Yeah.
One thing, like it'd be fun to do that. And then when the main riff kind of comes in, I was like, that'll obviously be like the Trooper.
Yeah.
And
Gotta have the
then
trills in there.
yeah, so it's just which are like all I just took that's usually just what I do
Okay.
with a lot of these covers, at least like the sound alike ones, is I just take if we're doing it in a style of a band, I just try to incorporate all of my favorite songs by that band and shove it all into like a little blender and try to make every piece of it work.
So, how much creative freedom do the people on the covers actually have? Like the artists that you get?
They get to take basically I build a demo of it and like then they get to really like make it their own. Like as long as keeping the same they kind of just they see the direction that I want to take it.
Right.
And
Right.
I'm like, as long as we're honoring like pieces of the original melody, that's good enough. I don't write this also if it's a guitarist and there's a guitar solo, I don't
Yeah.
I leave it up to them. Like, you know, when we did Something to Talk About by Bonnie Raitt in the style Guns N' Roses, like
Yeah.
Mrs. Smith had full creative control
For sure.
over the guitar solo, but she just had to keep in the like that's all she had to do.
Yeah.
And then she makes it her own. And like Nearly from Death Clock and now Danny Elfman on the Iron Maiden are on the Oingo Boingo cover, she just delivered that solo and it sounds perfect. I try to put people on a song who I think like that have the skills to and like I pick people who trust kind of get the direction and
Yeah.
will be able to like add their flair, like just
You
their
gotta be on the
natural
same
flair.
page too, right?
Huh?
because you guys have to be on the same page because you want to go in the same direction. So
Yeah.
if they fit that while also adding their own thing, then that's a win.
Yeah. Most people appreciate that, like the idea is kind of almost fully done. Like whenever I've worked with, like when we did Steely Dan,
Yeah.
and like I was talking to Nate Garrett, he was from Spear to Drift. He was like, dude, you made this so easy to put together. So I think no one has felt that they creatively haven't been able to like get their piece
Like to
into the
contribute.
song. Yeah, it just makes it's everything is just a little bit easier because of the demos. And like I will make playthrough videos. I'm like, here's how I played the riff. Feel free to do it in any other way. And then they take it from there, and I explain like kind of how to. So I will build the song by myself with like really crappy robot drums, and then we bring all the tracks again and just kind of rebuild the song.
Rebuild. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool.
What about the theatrics part of it? You seem to be like a very funny guy too. Do you have any background in like comedy or anything?
Yeah, that's how the show started. Is me and my co-creator Drew, who does all of, like the video editing or most of the video editing. But we kind of do the show together. Like we're both comedians. I used to do stand-up. He used to do a lot of like sketch comedy.
Oh, cool.
And we met because I went to college with his little brother, and he was like, you should like you guys should meet because you guys both like the same stupid music. And that's and just when we met, it kind of we were just the only two people that like made the same type of jokes about
Same
Yeah.
humor.
these.
You guys
But
click.
we had the same humor, but specifically about like this type of music.
Okay.
And like we had the same viewpoint on like why we think this stuff is funny or what is funny about it, and we listened to it kind of the same way. And I think that was specific. I think like that also was key for it was also key for how we got Mutoid Man on board, because we saw them perform at St. Vitus for the first time.
I was gonna ask you about that. How did that partnership really start?
Well, I saw that. I didn't know. I didn't know like Caven very well. I think that Mutoid Man was just kind of like hit it. Like they were about to release their second album or their first. I guess technically it's their first full length, because the first album was
an EP.
Right. But we saw them play live, and I was like, this is everything that I've wanted to see. They're just three dudes. They're shredding and but they're having fun, and there's like the technicality isn't overshadowing how fun it is. And they're like human Muppets. Like Steve plays guitar like he stuck a fork in a socket, and he's just like, I remember seeing him playing a solo, and he was legitimately just like running his head into the wall of St. Vitus, and I was like, okay, I love this. And then a few months later, when we were just building the show, like I actually how I met Steve is I looked up the band, and I was looking up who Steve Brodsky was, because I didn't know Caven very well at the time. So I looked him up, and I saw on his website that he like gave guitar lessons, and I wanted to get back into playing guitar anyway. So I hit him up because I was like, if this guy plays the way that I have always wanted to play, So I hit him up. I was like, "Are you still doing guitar lessons?" And he was like, "Not really, but let's do it." And we became friendly there. And at the time, like the space that he gave lessons was like down the street from the media company that I was doing video editing for, and I was working in their like their music content area. So I was just each day after a lesson, like I would talk about the stuff that I was pitching, and it was mostly like musical comedy. And he
Right.
was like, "You got to meet my bassist. Like he's the funniest person. He's always like he's basically doing stand up the whole time." And so put we put all that together, and then I came up with the idea for the show when I was actually pitching a music video idea to a local band. They were a do metal band named Godmaker, and they're really good. They're great, but all of their songs are like 11 minutes, and they were like, we don't have a lot of money. We want to just do a performance video,
Right.
and those aren't fun to watch or make usually. So for me, I was just trying to come up with like, all right, what's like a fun gag we could do to make an 11-minute performance video. And I was like, oh, we can do it. Like I remember the night, like one night, just Drew and I were watching Rob Zombie performances, just
Yeah.
looking at old VHS rips of like him performing on like Letterman, because we thought that was so funny. And my music video idea was like, oh, we should do it where like the music video is this band playing on an old 90s talk show, and we'll make it look like it's a VHS rip. And then I was like, oh, it would be funny if like the talk show host was just like Conan in corpse paint. And the more I thought about the talk show, I was like, wait, I now just want to make this show.
Right.
And so that's when we just started pitching the show. And I talked to Mutoid Man about it, and they thought it was really fun. And we put together a pilot for this media company. And then in very typical modern day internet fashion, like everyone from the entertainment side of that website got fired. And I didn't know who like took over, or like because I got a completely different job, so I didn't know anybody at this media company anymore.
Mhm.
So we just released the show on its own, just into the YouTube sphere, and the people liked it, and now we're here.
Yeah, I
Wow.
mean, Kev got me into it. I mean,
Yeah.
he goes, "Oh, you got to see this show."
I think
Whatever.
it was during quarantine, and I saw your Rush cover, Anthem.
Yeah.
That was the first one I saw. I'm like, holy shit, this is some cool
And
stuff.
for me, I'm 52 years old, so the only Aussie album I had was Diary of a Madman.
Yeah.
So when I saw that cover of
When
Over
you
the
released
Mountain,
that, I was like, thank you.
but my favorite has got to be Kate Bush's "Running Up That Hill." Did you guys?
Mhm.
That was really good. I'm sure Kate would be impressed by it.
That's awesome. I mean, that is also kind of my favorite too, actually.
Yeah.
Is because I love when we can do, it's fun to do the stuff that is like, this sounds like this, but
Yeah.
I think like my favorite covers are like
Ones you
Kate
could
Bush
track
with Emma
more.
Ruth Rundle, Crazy Train with Chelsea Wolfe, because we're taking those songs and just really turning them into something else. Like we're not trying to make it sound like a different band. Like that's a very fun experiment, but just really putting everyone's individual energy into a cover track is awesome. Sometimes it's hard to just we always want to transform it like at least a little bit to
Right.
really put our own spin on it, but sometimes like even with our, like, we use a very weird guitar tuning on it to try to like force the song to sound a little bit different. we don't just like drop to C or whatever, but or change we want to keep the original key of the song, but try to figure out how to like make it sound chunkier or more like twisted in some way. So, but that one, you know, the times when we get to really do stuff like running up that hill, I think that one came out so epic. It was really hard to put that one together because it's very different than the original song. There's so it was it was very hard to communicate exactly what was happening at different parts. Like the bridge was really hard for me to like.
That was kind of complex. Like I'm like, oh, that's what they're doing there with the toms and like trying to follow what you guys
Yeah. I had to, because I built the breakdown of that song off of like a really basic guitar riff that's tucked into the background of the original song. It's just like a guitar, just like it's just going like it's so faint. But I was like, it'd be funny if we just built the breakdown off of that, and we had everything like end on this. Not the one, like nothing starts on the one, and it was difficult to explain. So just everybody had to like except for M, but like all the musicians had to like do so many takes of that to like fully get it, because like the riff changes also. It's annoying. I was annoying on that.
Turned out great, man.
And talking about the guitars.
Yeah, Dunnable Guitars. How did that happen? Because I didn't even know about that brand before.
Dude, they they started. I don't know if you guys have seen, because we've done like we've the show has blown up because of the quarantine covers, but we also have. I don't know if you guys have seen the live show. That we did. It's So midway through filming the first season. I think it's literally just the second episode. Mutoid Man started working with because they're friends with the band Intronaut.
Okay.
Intronaut is like a very cool like psychedelic sometimes just instrumental doom band from California. And they're really cool, but their front person, Sasha Dunnable, started just building guitars.
Wow.
And he made Mutoid Man some guitars for the show. And when they started appearing in the episodes, like we were like, oh, the whole stage should just be covered with them, because they're just incredibly cool, unique. They're like super Gibsons. It's cool. Wow. They're lighter. They're just built for exactly what we're doing. Like there's, it's insane. Like they're really dark, but also really clear at the same time, which is very
cool. Through the speakers clearly. That's cool. And about the live shows, I was gonna ask you, how's the transition from the live shows to the virtual ones, like the virtual covers?
Well, weirdly, we actually had planned to do a quarantine style, like we planned to do these videos before the pandemic.
Okay.
One of the hardest thing about the live show was booking guests.
Right.
Because it's very hard for us who are a show who have like no money. We had a Patreon, but it was very small at the time. Mm-hmm. And we used it to just like buy costumes on Amazon or weird props or like give like try to give, you know, Mutoid Man some money for gas so they could like, because Ben lived upstate at the time. It was a whole thing. But either way, like the hardest thing was like calling up musicians that we liked and being like, hey, are you free at 7 p.m. and can you be in New York and you're not playing your own show? Like it's
like how do you even start that? You know?
Yeah, it was hard. So we you know, we worked really hard to you know, there was no like scheduled date for like when our shows were happening, because it was just like whenever
They're free.
the guest we like is free. And we had wanted to, like, Chelsea had wanted to be on the Chelsea Wolf had wanted to be on the show for like 5 years. There's like, since we did the pilot, and we weren't doing like regular episode, like, you know, there's a year between the pilot episode and then like the second episode that we made, which is now called Second Pilot, which that's not a real thing. But it's hard to have two episode twos. Anyway, we then, so that we decided, since we weren't planning on doing any more episodes at Vitus while we were trying to shop the first season around, so we were like, we could do, everyone's favorite part of the show is just watching us mutate a song with our guest at the end. So we can, I think it would be a little boring to just watch me try to interview somebody without like an audience, or without Mutoid Man able to interrupt with songs and weirdness. I think that's not that interesting, but I think we could do the cover songs, and we literally were already working on these like at home style cover videos in February. Like, if you noticed, there's two, like, Weird Al's Dare to Be Stupid and the AC/DC cover were filmed on the same day in my apartment. Like, Steve Brodsky from Caven is just in my apartment. Like, he's in the same room with the stupid couch hallway that I used to have, because those were filmed before the lockdown, because we were already trying to work on this. And then that's why there's one a week now, is because the second March hit, all of the people that we were talking to, we were picturing like, all right, we'll like release one a month or whatever, based on everyone's like working schedule. But then everyone was home. And then like every song we ever wanted to do was on the table.
Wow.
So we've just been doing tons, and now this is just my job, I guess, and it feels weird.
And my next question would be, how would you come up with the character Gwarsenio Hall?
It's just kind of me, but it's just me turned up a little bit. It's kind of just like, it's just like being, I guess it feels like how a wrestler feels. I think. Like, it's just the best like, we tried to make him more of a character, but we realized just like the improv that happens on stage is much funnier than anything we could kind of come up with. So just like, I don't know, the best moments on stage are just like the real moments.
There's subtle things like you do, like with the spider on the couch, you know, just little just laugh, you know.
Yeah, that kind of stuff, like decorating my house, is really fun. I you know, it's just trying to come up with like just funny slapstick bits, like, you know, it's, I guess like what it is I tried to, is basically the character is just like me plus Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
Because you know, when you think about like, I don't know, like Beetlejuice is like one of the that's one of the funniest movie performances ever.
Yeah, he was.
No one really thinks of Michael Keaton as a comedian, though, which is weird, because he was a stand-up for years, but no one remembers his stand-up.
I didn't know.
Yeah, he and like Norm Macdonald, the comedian, were friends, and like they weirdly have the same joke style.
Oh, wow.
Like they both do like really, they deliver the same jokes, but it always worked better for Norm because Norm is just really dry.
Yeah.
And it makes it all land. But like with Michael Keaton, he always has like a little more energy. But it's funny because you see just like the really like almost bad jokes are amplified when he's Beetlejuice. It works because it's just up to 11 and it's chaotic and it's the perfect way to deliver like Looney Tunes humor, old vaudeville style, just bad dad jokes. And that's kind of all that we're doing also. We just have, the show is bad puns. It's stupid. Like in the bridge of Rocket Queen, we changed all of the sex noises to me, like being unable to lift up a hot cup of tea. So
I died when I saw that.
yeah, I think it's for me, it's like Gwarsenio is just a good way for me to amplify my own sense of humor. Like I get to like just amplify like the side of me that loves spooky nonsense, but also just like Jewish neuroticism at the same time that is just in my family. So it's a fun avenue to just push all that.
Jewish comedy is well, it's one of my favorite types of comedies because it's a different type of humor. If you take like the Seinfeld type of humor is and everybody that came before Seinfeld. Remember the episode with the library cop.
Yes.
Um,
The guy from the guy from Hard Eight, Philip Baker Hall.
was that his name?
I think that's his name.
Yeah, for me, that's pure. That was like pure Jewish humor. He was amazing in that episode. I think they even won he got nominated for a Grammy that particular episode.
Emmy.
An
Emmy.
Oh,
Grammy, yeah, Grammy. One of those me's.
Yeah. I mean, it's I mean, I wouldn't call it like Jewish humor necessarily. I just think it's inherent. I think that just Jewish people at the time were the first to embrace like self-deprecating
Yes.
humor, to get famous doing that. Like I think like when you look at, I guess, like the pioneers of it, even though he's gross and we threw him in the trash, like Woody Allen is famous for like kind of bringing that to light. But then you have, I think it's just I think it's like a variation on like Rodney Dangerfield kind of thing. Like it's just
He's my guy.
It's basically just like no respect, but I don't have respect for myself.
That's it.
So that's the kind of, and I love that type of humor. I love so many different types of humor, and it's very fun that we have a style of comedy that can be like, we've built a world where we can be so broad, and it's way more fun to do that than do like topical humor. Like we tried a lot of different stuff in the pilot episode. There's stuff that we cut, like we did monologue jokes, like This Week in Metal type of shit, where I have like the Daily Show, where it's just like an image pops up and it's just like this. It's just, yeah, Jay Leno, like this was in the news, but it didn't work for us. Like we didn't like it as much. It's
well,
not.
You try some stuff and see what works for you, right?
Yeah, I think it's just, I don't know. We also just, we wanted you for the most part to be able to watch the show and it be a little universal, depending on like when you watched it.
Okay.
Like I think it's watching I think it's easier to watch our show than it is to like watch an SNL sketch, like a political opening sketch from 2 years ago. It feels fucking weird to watch that.
We watch it on Sundays. We
Yeah.
take it on Saturday nights. We watch it the next day.
And even then, you're like, I heard all of these jokes on Twitter.
Yeah, there you go. And
Man.
you guys have any plans for? I don't know. I know it's
pretty unpredictable
but
at the moment, but any plans for next year or what's next? You know.
I mean, we're working on stuff. I think we're gonna keep doing the covers for as long as we can, as long as it's fun.
Mm.
And I think it will be. We still have so many musicians who are excited to work with us, and we still have songs that we love so many different types of music. So we're just gonna make whatever work. But I think the key for us is we're not gonna do anything that we wouldn't want to keep doing when being around people is safe.
Right.
Like we don't want to do anything that we wouldn't think was cool pre-pandemic or post-pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
So we're trying to work within the medium to find things that will be interesting and fun even when this ends.
Yeah.
If this, you never know, but that's why we're trying to figure out all right, what's genuinely fun regardless. Okay. So we're working on stuff.
That's cool.
Like that. We're going to try to, we're going to be, we are ambitious and I think this is our most successful time because it's the first time we've been able to be really consistent. Like people are finding the show because of the covers. Mm-hmm. And
we're reaching a lot of people this way.
Yeah, we get we get to have this would have been the benefit of we're seeing the benefit of consistency for the first time because we don't there are a million easier ways to make a metal show than the way we do it. We've been asked to, we've had meetings to do the show, but specifically, make it a metal topical show and have only metal guests. But then, we wouldn't have things like the Kate Bush cover.
Exactly.
Which I think is a key. And we don't want to be a metal show for people who like metal. We want to be a music show that gets people who love music to maybe appreciate metal a little more, but ultimately it's a music show.
I think that's true.
Yeah. And it's entertaining. It's not just you guys are being funny. At the same time, it showcases your talents as well. You're all good musicians,
Yeah, thank you. I mean, that's what we're trying. We want it to sound good. And we want it to look fun. There are so many quarantine videos now. There's a lot of them, but we want ours to be just genuinely fun to watch either way. And I think we have that with the fun that, Drew has with the green screen stuff. We try to be as silly as possible and make it match the vibe of the song. And it's, not trying. I feel like it's easy to lean one way or the other into the limitations, trying to make it look too cool or the footage that you have. I've seen a lot of quarantine videos where the editing style is just James Cameron, and it doesn't
dramatic.
And I'm this and it's limited because it's just it's just cell phone footage of a guy in a shed, and it's you have to work with
that's to make sense.
You got to just work with the footage that you have and find what's make it match the song the right way
level and stuff.
And that's why I try to be it's gonna be weird now because I have moved from my old apartment.
Yeah.
And I have a new house now. Like there's the couch.
Yeah.
But we're gonna try to, I think I try to keep, everything for Gwarsenio in the apartment so that it's everybody else can kind of do whatever they want. And they can, like, I'll be animated in my room, so everybody can either, so since I'm so animated, like some folks can just go out, like go on the roof and pretend and like sing the song and like do all kinds of shots or whatever. But then there can be other people who are just like, I don't really know how to film something, I'm just going to sit in my chair in front of my computer and play. So that way everything kind of works together.
Mm-hmm.
And always find some way to tie it together.
And just as a last question, your thoughts on the passing of Eddie Van Halen? I know you're a fan.
Striped guitar behind you.
Yeah. I have a Fender Jaguar that's actually a Jaguar I pulled out of the basement of St. Vitus after the first. Yeah, it's I mean, I did stuff to it. That's why it's painted like that. Like, it was just a Japanese Jaguar. And you can see me playing the original version of it in the pilot episode.
Yeah.
In the pilot episode, when we're playing Bridge Burner by Mutoid Man, we played a Mutoid Man song because we wanted the show to be rights free in case we got picked up. We don't care about that anymore. We're doing our own thing. So we'll, but I just kind of I just made a weird Frankenstein guitar with stuff I liked, which is what Eddie would do. Like, Eddie just built the guitar that he wanted. He was like, I wish that like I could have the humbucker of a Gibson inside of a Fender. Right. And that's what he did. Yeah. And he like just kept building his own stuff, and I kind of did the same thing I like made it pink instead of red, so it kind of still felt like my own thing. And I gave it a Randy Rhoads headstock, so it's just like, it is an homage to the guitar players that I love, but it still feels like my own thing. Eddie didn't invent the guitar having a personality. I think like that, like personality in guitar playing really was popularized by like Jimi Hendrix, but nobody. I think when Eddie Van Halen came on the scene, he made it necessary to have personality in your guitar playing. Like, there were, after Jimi Hendrix, people still just were like good at guitar playing. But then when you see the post Van Halen effects, you saw just hair metal. Everyone was shredding. Everyone was trying to have the most technically gifted guitar player, but no one gave a shit. Like, then after that, everyone was like, it was insane that being that good of a guitar player did not matter, because there was just so many of them. Yeah. Like everyone was a good guitar player. The only people that stood out were the people that had really unique personality in the way that they played. And that's what being like a rock god became, is like the way in which you play. Like, that's why the guitar players we remember the most are like, after Eddie Van Halen, it's just like Dimebag Darrell has a very specific sound.
Nobody sounds like him.
No. I mean, his tone sounds arguably really bad, but he's an incredible player, and he has his own thing going on. And I think like Marty Friedman from Megadeth has
the way he holds his pick, like that. The way
it's so bizarre, but I love it. He's my favorite guitar player. But yeah, like Eddie Van Halen's my favorite band. Like, they were because it was just the weirdest combination of fellas.
Yeah.
Like nothing sounds like what that everyone. I remember like a friend who used to actually write on 2 Minutes was like, I don't get like Van Halen's just hair metal. I was like, it's not hair metal at like it inspired hair metal.
It's
Van Halen is just like the it's just like the blues and classical music fused together and on fire, and then just like David Lee Roth is like a homeless drag queen just making James Brown noises over it, and it's crazy and I love it. It's so weird. But it's everybody being, but also it's everybody being so specifically good at their instrument, but almost in a completely different genre of music than the other person in the band. And that's why you get
that synergy once everybody's together is unmatched.
It's just, it works, but no one should use that as like a blueprint for being in a band, because it almost, in almost any other circumstance, that would not be the case. If you put like someone who wanted to be like David Lee Roth, if he just was like trying to do like soul music screaming by himself, but he also didn't look the way that he did and did karate at the same time, it wouldn't be as magical. It's all of these extremely weird elements together, and that's why like it's always been a tie between them and like Thin Lizzy, but they are I think they always like beat them out just a little bit. But yeah, no, I'm crushed that Eddie passed. I was ready for it to happen in high school when the cancer diagnosis happened, but then you just, the short reunion happened, and I never got to see them.
That's when we saw
them. We saw them in 2012.
You guys are lucky. That's awesome. Yeah. I also didn't get to see my other favorite musician is Prince.
Oh, I love Prince.
He was here a few days before he passed away. He was here in Montreal.
Yeah.
Doing the piano thing, right? Yeah. I had a chance to see Prince and Van Halen on their last like tour, and I skipped it because I assumed
they're still
there
around.
would be another time, and I didn't have the money at the time. I didn't have enough money.
You with Leonard Cohen.
Yeah, I went to see Leonard Cohen, and he passed away before I got a chance. That's one of my biggest regrets.
Yeah, it's a shame. I mean, but I mean, I don't. It's not like I did it out of like a real choice of like I'll see him next time. It's just I was out of college and I was broke, so I don't have $275
exactly extra to buy tickets.
Yeah.
But after that, like that's why I've lucky only had to pay to see the Misfits one time. Like 2 Minutes has luckily helped me bullshit my way into a lot of festivals that have the Misfits reunions on them. But I was like, I gotta.
You went to the Madison Square Garden one?
I 2 Minutes got us into the Riot Fest in Denver to see their first. It was almost like their warm-up show for Chicago Riot Fest. And I was like, that's cool. And then we did Psycho Vegas with like a few years later. And then they were playing the Garden, and I was like, I gotta see the Misfits. And that's someone's high school band playing Madison Square. Like if you think about,
that's a success story.
Yeah.
That's the weirdest thing. Being Danzig and then being asked to do the Misfits, like people were like, why do you put off being in the Misfits again for so long? I'm like, wouldn't you? If you were, the Misfits were not big when they were the Misfits. They were just, everyone is like asked like Glenn Danzig like about CBGBs, and he's like, why do you want to talk to me about? I don't know CBGBs. I played there one time on a Thursday, and everyone just assumes that the Misfits were this huge thing at the time, and they were tiny. And then Danzig gets signed like off of just being Danzig.
Yeah, and
Rick Rubin, yeah. And then he becomes huge later, like not even when Mother comes out, like the first album comes out, it's big.
Yeah.
But then he skyrockets after like a live version
Mother 93
of Mother. And years after it comes out, and then he becomes big, and then like he sells off the rights to the Misfits because like Jerry and Doyle, he's like, okay, whatever, just keep doing it.
Yeah.
And then people are like, would you do a Misfits reunion? And he's like, what? That's like someone asking you like, do you want to get back together with your high school band? Because that's when he had it.
Yeah.
If someone asked me to do that, I would say no. I would absolutely say no. But I think they got it because they're like, listen, if you do this Misfits reunion, it'll culminate. Like, if you get together with your high school band, you can play Madison Square Garden. That would be so confusing to me.
So weird.
That would be a good idea to do a song a la Danzig.
Well,
the way you guys did it with
they did Am I Demon?
By whom?
You guys have done a couple Danzig songs.
We've done a couple of dances.
Oh no, but I'm saying doing somebody else's song, but Danzig
Oh,
style.
Danzig
right. We've had a few in the tank in that vein. There are a lot. We just haven't actually pulled them together. One of the craziest things was getting to sing Danzig's to sing Dirty Black Summer with Danzig's actual band. That was weird. His drummer is the drummer of Typo Negative, John Kelly.
Oh, okay.
And his bassist, Steve Zing. Huh?
Is it his current band?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So John Kelly from Typo Negative is his drummer now, and Steve Zing is his bassist. And for Metal Injection's Slay at Home festival that they put together earlier this year, they were doing everything was for Music Cares. They asked me to sing like Dirty Black Summer with them, and that was bananas.
Insane.
Wow.
To do. But I'm a huge fan of Danzig. I would love to do. It's got to be like the right thing to do in the style of Danzig. Like we were talking about. I've been talking about it with like the Danzig sound is hard to recreate. And it's even hard for Danzig to do it right now. And I think it's like specific. Like we've done a lot of variations on stuff, and it's like it's hard to really nail it or to find a song that really works. Because even when Danzig does covers, it doesn't totally sound right either. Like there's
Elvis covers now, no?
Yeah, he put out an album.
He did Elvis covers. They're great. I like him too. Like everyone complains about like oh, his voice is fried. I'm like, he's fucking 60 something years old. You try going whoa every day for 40 years. and like I saw what's his name from the Talking Heads?
David Byrne.
I saw David Byrne. I mean, he's great, but he sounds fried as hell. He sounds burnt. His voice sounds old as hell.
I saw 1983.
That's awesome.
That's the height.
Yeah. But, like, I think everyone's really hard on Danzig for having a blown out voice. I'm like, fucking most people do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got I think he's just trying to figure out how to, like, own it in the same way as like an older Bruce Springsteen or like an older David Byrne. But yeah, you will definitely see a song in the style of Danzig in the future. It's just it's gotta nail it. Like it's gotta have a riff that really will sound good in the John Christ style and tone, because it's not just like a minor riff with pinch harmonics. We've seen that it doesn't really work that way for Danzig. So it's just, we're gonna be meticulous about it because we love him.
Yeah,
cool.
I'm gonna do right by it.
Well, all right, Jordan.
Well, thanks a lot, Jordan.
Really appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you for your time.
Yeah,
really appreciate it. And
thank
you to have you back on at least in a few months.
Yeah,
that's okay.
Sure. Yeah, hit me up. We'll see what's going on. We'll check in.
Sounds good.
All
Keep
right.
it up.
All right, take care, guys.
Take care.
Take it
Bye.
easy. Bye.